Frigidaire. We introduced the first home freezer, the first pulsator agitator washer. And now we introduce the Frigidaire Orbit Clean dishwasher, designed with a unique wash arm that gives you 4 times more water coverage for a consistently better clean. Frigidaire, over 90 years of legendary innovation.
See the full line of Frigidaire appliances at Ventura TV Electronics and Appliances.
Hi, I'm John Mallos. Welcome to this live edition of Connect with Me on the showroom floor at Ventura TV on this day. A lot to talk about in the next 60 minutes. We'll have the CCSPCA in here. We'll have 2 guests. We'll even have a puppy in the house a little bit later on in the program. 436 Meet TV, option 11. Back in just a moment. Back here on the program today, it is a Your Community Day here on Comcast Channel 187, where you're watching us right now, and you're watching us on 43.6 as usual, and now 13.1. That is also Me TV. That is live. Hey, if you missed this program, you can watch the replay between 2 and 3 today on YouTube. That's 13.6, and then Biz TV 13.5. The replay starts at 8 o'clock tonight, so plenty of time if you want to watch the replay of this program. Before we get into the main topic of this show today here, we're talking about the SPCA, but a couple of topics. Right around this time yesterday, Fresno police surrounded a home in Fresno. I believe it was southeast Fresno, where they were looking for a murder suspect. They'd been looking for this gentleman for the last 4 months. He was suspected of killing 3 people. His name was 21-year-old Matthew Perez, and so police surrounded the house. He came out, he jumped out of a window. He was shot and killed. Now, Deputy Chief Keith Foster spoke to the media after the police shooting took place of this suspected gang member and suspected murderer.
That Matthew Perez was at this location. The girlfriend that he is dating lives here. Our SBS detectives came out, established a perimeter around this particular location, and upon detectives deploying to the front door, Matthew Perez was observed exiting a rear window. He was confronted by SBS detectives, which ultimately resulted in an officer-involved shooting where Matthew Perez was shot.
How many officers were involved in the shooting?
We had 2 officers that were involved in the shooting, and we believe 6 rounds were expended, 3 by each officer, and again, there are 2 veteran officers.
What is the condition of the suspect right now?
We believe now he was pronounced deceased.
So again, that was Deputy Chief Keith Foster, courtesy of the Fresno Bee. That video taking place yesterday, right around this time at 10 o'clock in the morning. So it just goes to show you we still have a major gang problem right here in the city of Fresno. The Fresno Police Department, headed by Jerry Dyer, trying to take care of it with those police districting units, the gang suppression units, if you will, that are trying to suppress the gang problem right here in the city of Fresno. And again, 21-year-old Matthew Perez shot and killed by police yesterday, suspected in 3 murders here in the city of Fresno. In the meantime, the Courtney fire continues near Yosemite National Park. It has now destroyed 33 homes. It was only about 50% contained as of last night. The fire started on Sunday and has now burned about 320 acres. The one person whose childhood home was completely destroyed, he saw it go down, was Steve Sidman. Here's what he had to say. We have an interview with Steve, whose childhood home destroyed in the Courtney fire.
It's my dad's house. I live in the valley. So as soon as I heard about the fire, I jumped in my car and came up here. Oh yeah, I had my car parked down the street and had sheriffs and CAL FIRE yelling at us to get the hell out of there. And I said, that's my house, and I'll leave in a moment. So I wasn't worried about catching on fire.
About what time was that when you were seeing it?
About 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
And it was catching fire then?
Oh yeah, it had already taken out the neighbor's house to the east of us. Our garage was burning and half the house was on fire, so it's pretty crazy.
Did you leave before it totally burned down?
I couldn't stand there any longer and look at that. The CAL FIRE guys said that they let the roof down and they couldn't stop it. It was in the trees. It was just like a wall of fire. So.
Once again, that was Steve Sidman. His childhood home burned to the ground by the Courtney fire. Only 50% contained, 33 homes destroyed. That video, again, courtesy of our friends over at the Fresno Bee. And by the way, Steve Sidman, a friend of this program, doing a lot of work for Coca-Cola Television here in the city of Fresno, along with Ventura TV and Ventura Broadcasting Company, which owns Connect With Me. And so Steve, a friend of this program, and Gary Coca-Cola and Coca-Cola Television. So our hearts and prayers and thoughts go out to him and his family. At least he's still alive, but a bad thing to have your childhood home burn right in front of your eyes. Now to the topic of today's program, and that is the CCSPCA. They house all the animals, of course. Let me give you a stunning figure. Let me just throw this out. 27%, only 27% of the animals that are housed currently in the SPCA make it out alive. And in other words, only 27% are adopted by families here in the Central Valley. I want to roll the videotape and show you what I'm talking about. This is the outside of the CCSPCA. The amount of animals that have to be euthanized is staggering. And that's what infuriated some people a couple of years back, including the council president back then, Clint Olivier. He spoke out against the organization, and then the backlash hit from the general public, the media. And so the CCSPCA decided to walk away and drop its association with the city and the county, despite a $3 million contract at the time. After a long, convoluted process, though, the CCSPCA is now back representing only the city. They're under contract for the next 3 to 5 years to the tune of $3.2 million. However, there is only so much officials can do to save these animals. They already have more than 700 dogs and cats. They have horses, they have hamsters, they have guinea pigs, they have turtles, pigeon. The list goes on. There's a good-looking bunch right there. On top of that, they're picking up strays every day. They investigate those animals who might in fact be tortured. It's a big job. It takes a lot of people. It takes a lot of money. What a couple of cute guys right there. 3 of them. Look at that. By the way, Clint Olivier, who once agreed to come on this program, then backed out, has never returned our call since and has not been a guest on this program to talk about this issue. Well, live in our studio now to talk about this issue is Thalia Arenas and Walter Salvari, both from the CCSPCA, ready to take your phone calls. Later in the program, we'll have a live puppy right here on our set, and you'll be able to see them. I don't know if you'll be able to adopt them. You'll have to call in and find out. 436-ME-TV. Option 11. Do call in. It's the animal. You know, anytime you have talk about kids or animals, we're going to get the phone calls, or if we're giving free money away, which we're not doing today. Back with our program in just a moment.
Euronews, most-watched news channel in Europe.
Back here on the program talking animals and the SPCA. I don't want to say CCSPCA every time. We know it's the Central Valley SPCA. It's just a mouthful. I don't want to deal with that. So anyway, we're talking with Thalia Arenas, Walter Salvari. Good to see both of you. I like that color blue. And good to see you, Walter. Thanks for agreeing to come on the program. So is it I guess the first question is, you know, with this thing with Clint Olivier that took place a couple of years ago, is it virtually impossible in your eyes and in your eyes to save every animal that comes through your doors?
Well, We try, of course, but unfortunately, it's just not possible. It's really hard with about 75 animals that sometimes enter the door every day. That's an immense amount of animals.
75 a day?
Yes,
that come through the door.
Yes, and
that's not just dogs and cats.
No.
What
So
are
it could
they?
be mice, rats, pigeons, foxes, coyotes, really anything that's out there in the city or county, because the county people still come over to the shelter and try to get services from us, but it's hard, of course, and we're only here to be with the city. And a lot of NSS, a lot of creatures that are just born are right there on the side of the streets, either in boxes or just underneath the bush, and it's kind of crazy.
Take a call right here. Good morning, caller. You're on the air with the SPCA.
Hi. Actually, I live in Clovis. I'm a feral colony caregiver. I've got my TV totally muted. I have some grim statistics for you. First of all, $1 billion a year annually, solely for the process of euthanization, not picking up housing prior to just killing.
Okay.
We have one of the. Let me.
I know, but you can't.
Continue. I have some resources.
Wait a second, ma'am. One of the things you can't do is call here and just rant on and on and on and on and on. If you want to call and ask a question, that's fine. But we only have 60 minutes. We're only here until 11 o'clock, and I appreciate your phone call, but we can't let you go on and on and on. Just quickly call in and ask a question. If you can. 436-ME-TV. Ma'am, if you want to call back and just simply ask a quick question within 10-15 seconds, the line is yours. So anyway, how do you feel about it, Thalia? You can't save every single animal, can you?
Unfortunately, due to the amount, as Walter was mentioning, the amount of animals that are coming in every day, 75 to 100 animals, is, again, that is our goal, to get them either out with their previous owners or as adopted or to some other organization like a rescue or something. But even then, you have animals that are coming injured, you have animals that are coming aggressive, they are sick, and there's just not enough money to treat every animal that comes into the shelter. And we will do as much as we can for the amount that we have, but unfortunately it's still more than we can handle. So that's why we parted with the county, hoping that some of the animals, if we direct them to another shelter, that we would see the euthanasia rate go down. But even then, still, we're probably still taking about 30,000 animals a year. It's still more than in the kennels we can house probably throughout the shelter about 500 animals to 600. Anything more than that, if you start cramming the cages with animals, you're going to have dog fights, you're going to have diseases. It's just going to be even more problematic. So it's not possible or feasible to keep every animal that comes in. So there's some sort of rotation basis that's going.
Yeah, she's more articulate than you are.
That's what we love to have her on, of course.
I know, that's why she's on. You go ahead. No, I'm just kidding you, Walter. Now, a very astute analogy on your part, Thalia, and because if you do cram the cages, that's when all the problems begin. Mm-hmm. And as you know, Liberty has been criticized for that. They're, taking care of the county. They have an agreement with the county. They're over at the old morgue. You know what's going on there, right? You've heard about the rumors about the diseases and the crammed cages and this and that. Do you have a similar problem, or do you try to keep the animals separated as much as you can?
We definitely try to keep the animals separated, and that's where the rules come into play. The whole 3 to 5 days of holding the animals, we definitely try to go by the Hayden bill still, which is at 5 to 6 days is when we'll actually hold the animals at the shelter,
and
the
then
stray
what?
side.
And
then
what?
After that period, we'll either go ahead and put them up for adoption, rescue, and of course the final thing, which is euthanasia. And that's the big thing, of course, that a lot of people gripe on throughout the city and county.
Yeah, I know, and it angers a lot of people when you talk about it.
Yes.
But how do you avoid it? That's the question. How do you avoid it? How do those figures of euthanasia, and I know you told me yesterday on the phone or the day before that you had to put down 1,450 animals. I don't know if that includes dogs, cats, and whatever, just in the month of August alone. Okay, that seems like a lot. But how do you compare to, say, Tulare County or Merced County or Sacramento County here in California?
Well, from my understanding of the numbers, there is a problem in the Central Valley in general with euthanasia. Whether
It's
it be
higher
Madera,
than other parts of the state?
but within Fresno City, yes, we're the 3rd in the nation still for euthanasia. So that's pretty high, for a small city. Really, that's really high.
Let me take a call here real quick. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. What's your question, please? Caller.
Hello.
Turn down your sound, please.
Yes, yes. I am watching the news right now, and I'm kind of disturbed because it's talking about the homelessness in the Central Valley of animals, right?
Yes.
What about the homelessness of human beings in the Central Valley? There's nothing being done. There was monies that were donated to this SPCA thing, but what about the homelessness about human beings in Central Valley?
Okay, well, that's a good question. I mean, that you have a homeless problem here in the Central Valley as well. So this woman is wondering, well, wait a minute, are we paying too much attention to the animals and putting too much time, money, and effort into a dog or a cat or a hamster as opposed to people? I'll just let you guys answer.
Well, Talia, you probably have some insight on that for...
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it is a problem in both sides. However, money is allocated in both funds, whether it's the homeless issue with humans that we have and with animals. So there is money allocated for both situations. But of course, if we want to have a humane community, then it does take for our city and our officials to kind of look at all the problems that we have, because it all kind of revolves and it's all under the same underlining issues that we have. Matter of fact, we do help out the homeless that have pets as well, and so we're trying to help them at least with certain services that might be in relation to their animals. But yeah, I mean, we can totally understand where we definitely need to or at least our officials need to look at that problem as well.
Yeah.
But certainly everybody's kind of like fighting for money and resources and things, and unfortunately something's going to go maybe to others neglected. So that's just yeah.
All right, talking with Thalia Arenas and Walter Salvari, both from the SPCA. They're here today to answer your phone calls. Later in the program, we'll have a live animal, a dog here, a puppy actually, on the set. And we're going to come back, 436, MeTV option 11. We'll see you back on the other side of the break.
Considering solar? Whether you're ready to buy now or just exploring your options, the consultants at Solar Negotiators are here to help you. A call to Solar Negotiators is like calling 5 solar companies at once. You see, when local established solar contractors have gaps in their schedule, they call Solar Negotiators to fill them. Right now, get 5 years of panel cleaning and maintenance or $1,000 off your new solar panels. So stop wasting your time searching and call Solar Negotiators, because when contractors compete for your business, you win.
When you like Ventura TV Appliance on Facebook, it's nice. But when you love the Samsung big screen we deliver, it's even better. Our website is cool, and it's a good place to start, but you really should touch the merchandise before you buy. Time for that upgrade to an HD 3D web-enabled Samsung TV. Get the best selection, price, and service in town without waiting. Come in to Ventura TV Appliance and touch the merchandise today.
Talking here with 2 members of the SPCA right here in the Central Valley, Thalia Arenas and Walter Salvari. I hope I'm pronouncing those names correctly, my friends. We do have a phone call. Let's hope it's a good question here. Good morning, caller. What's your question?
Actually, I'm calling to give some resources.
Okay.
Available in town.
Okay.
There's a website. It's called the SNP Team, which stands for Spay and Neuter Inter-Community Project Team Incorporated. They are a 501c3. Their funding for feral cats is gone. They need donations to spay. They depend on grants and donations. Their website, www.snipteam, all lowercase.com. They can be reached at 559-961-SNIP.
Okay.
If you're having problems with cats, wild cats, feral cats, I have a great organization. If you have a computer, www.alleycat.org.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you very much for the call. I appreciate it very much. So what about spay and neuter? You know, we've had people from the Valley Animal Center here, or Valley Animal Shelter, whatever it's called, and they're a no-kill zone. Okay, obviously, you guys know that. How effective is it to spay and neuter your animals? I mean, can it eliminate the problem of euthanasia?
Well, that is one of the major things that we try to advocate for, is for spaying and neutering your pet. And we launched a program, we actually developed it called the Snip and Ship program,
Yeah.
which is $35 to spay and neuter your pet and get it all and microchipped.
Hey, let's roll a piece of videotape from the SPCA and we'll take a look at some dogs over there. And if you're interested in dogs, you want to come over and adopt an animal, I mean, they're all cute. I don't want to sit here and say every one of them's cute because we all know that they are. So look at that. I mean, adorable. I hate to walk in there because I want to walk out with all of them, but you can't. So as we look at this, I believe you were telling me, Walter, the other day that there's a limit to how many animals you can actually have in your home?
Yes.
Which is what?
In the city of Fresno, it's 4 dogs or cats, any combination, as long as it's 4.
No more than 4?
No more than 4.
So you can have 2 dogs and 2 cats?
Yes.
But no more?
No more.
Okay, otherwise?
Well, then you'd be in violation of the actual code that states that you're only allowed to have 4. Now, the county may be different. I'm not sure, Talia.
The county is
The
what?
county, it's about 6. So it just depends on which county we're talking about. But Fresno County, it's about 6 or so that you can have.
But within the city, it's only 4. Now, can you have 2 dogs, 2 cats, and say a hamster and maybe a turtle? Would that be okay?
Yes, that's totally fine. It's just the rabies control part, really, is what we're trying to aim for.
Oh, I see. I see. So all of these dogs that we're looking at right there, there's a cutie right there, another one. Are they all up for adoption over there?
Yes, everything on film right now is available for adoption, and most likely they're still sitting there, to be honest.
Yeah, so when you walk into the SPCA, what's the difference between you guys and, say, the Valley Animal Shelter, which is a no-kill zone? We all know that, and you guys do euthanasia. What's the biggest difference in animals?
Okay, so there's several differences. The Central California SPCA, we are contracted with the city, so we do animal control versus Valley Animal Center doesn't. We also do humane investigations, where Valley Animal Center does not have humane investigators.
Explain that.
So humane investigators differ. They're like a step above animal control officers because they don't tend to the general animal calls. They are the ones that are tending to the investigations of animal cruelty and animal neglect.
Okay.
So those are the 2 differences. And then the third thing, it wouldn't be a difference, but that's something that we do have in common. They are a surrender shelter, so you can take your animal there if you're unable to care for it any longer. The same thing with the SPCA, you can bring your pets with us as well.
Yeah.
So those are the 3 ways that the animals come into the shelter, and one of those we share in common. And then the second thing that we both have in common, or one way that we collaborate, is the animals that unfortunately might be up for euthanasia.
Yeah.
The way that they're called the rescue is because they come and rescue those animals, and then they put them up for adoption. So they are selective with the ones that they're going to take from us that are on the euthanasia row, and then they would take them.
I see.
So.
We do have a phone call coming
Yes,
in.
certainly.
And, while we're doing that, I want to roll some more videotape of some dogs out there. We'll take the call here as we look at that videotape. Caller, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Yeah, you're talking about dogs being adopted. What's the rate of our dogs being killed right there in the SPCA from parvo? Is it still up like it used to be?
Well, disease still happens. We still have parvo. We still have distemper. It doesn't break as often as it used to because we do have we implemented some things so that way that doesn't occur as much. But unfortunately, in the Central Valley, we have some horrible strains of parvo out there. We find these puppies that just catch it, and there's no way of coming back from that. And that recently happened to an adopter of ours, and we asked her just to come on down to the shelter and bring the animal back. She tried to save the animal by taking it to the house.
Explain what that is.
Parvo attacks the digestive system of the animal. They can't drink water, they can't eat, and when they blow with parvo, it's like blood that comes out of them, and it's a horrible thing to see a dog go through. And we elect to euthanize because it's the most humane thing to do at the shelter than to have them
It's like a
go
virus
through medicine.
or
Yes,
what that goes
it's
through
a
them?
virus, the virus that goes through them.
Horrible. All right, let's take another call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Hello?
Yes.
Question,
Hello?
please. Yeah, quickly. What's your question?
Yes. I want to disagree with the 2 people that are on your program about euthanization. Okay, I had some kittens, that I had to pay the SPCA to euthanize. Okay, they didn't take the kittens. They said, okay, we'll take them, but we'll kill them. Okay, then they wanted to charge $68 to come out and get them. Okay, and I asked, what do you do with them after you get them? They said, we kill them. So That's why, and this is why I totally disagree with the SPCA, and that they should be disbanded or barred from dealing with animals, especially the people that works there.
Okay, let them address that. Go ahead,
I can
Thalia.
answer that question. So these kittens were probably his, so he has to pay a fee for us to go and pick them up, as well as
What
the
is
animal.
that fee?
So right now, if you're going to surrender a litter of kittens, it's $80. And then if the animal control truck has to go and pick up the animals, because you can opt to bring the animals in, and you are saving yourself the animal control cost. So that would be on top of $25. And if the animals are under 2 months and 2 pounds of age, they cannot be placed up for adoption. By law, we have to spay and neuter every dog and cat that leaves the shelter. And if they're under 2 months of age, the vet will not deem that animal healthy to be spayed or neutered. So if he was probably trying to surrender cats that were his, that were not of age and not of weight. So that is why the fee, and that is why unfortunately they were going to be put up for euthanasia.
What's the fee for, though? I guess that's what I'm asking.
Okay, so for the service, well, one of the fees was for the animal control truck as processing for picking up, and then the other one was probably the euthanasia cost, and then again, just bringing them in. So there is a cost associated with surrendering animals, not just to us, but other animal shelters. It's not necessarily free to just give up your animal.
Is it a common practice throughout the state that happens?
Yes, and not many facilities out here have the funds to deal with NSS, which is non-self-sustaining kitties. And we try our best. We're not perfect, of course. And the fees, they have to go towards the animal, of course. We don't receive that much money to care for almost 800 animals on site at the CCS-PCA.
Yeah. All right. Talking with Thalia Arenas and Walter Salvari, SPCA. Back with your phone calls. 436-ME-TV, option 11. Back in a moment.
It's Sully and Russ on the Big Biz Show.
It's your biz.
And maybe they'll start listening to Baldwin McCullough.
Now, before you make any money moves, check in with the Brain Trust.
And you are starting your week off right.
And you're there, 436-ME-TV, option 11, if you want to call in and ask a question. And, the question I can sympathize with the caller. I understand what he's talking about. But if you eliminate the SPCA, and, of course, a couple of years ago, we all know what happened when Clint Olivier came down hard on you guys. And then you guys threw your hands up in the air and said, hey, you know what? If you guys can get a better organization. And obviously, they couldn't get a better organization to do what you guys do. If you guys weren't here to do what you do, to pick up strays, to take care of the animals, yes, you have to kill some. Who would do it?
And that's the big question. We don't want to be honest, we don't want to do the animal control side of things. With the city's negotiation with the contract, we literally said that they should be in charge of taking over animal control, taking over all that side of the euthanasia part, of course. It's a city-run function that should be handled through them and
so
not through
are
the
they
SPCA.
handling it?
Well, that's still in talks, of course. We don't know when that will ever happen.
So that's a negotiation.
Yes, and that's where the contract is.
So you guys are still handling it?
Yes, we're going to be handling it until further notice.
Until
somebody
for the
has
next
to.
3 to 5 years.
Yes.
And that's in negotiation right now.
Yes.
Even though you guys are... Okay, let me ask you, $3.2 million a year, where does all that money go?
And all that goes to strays, and a bunch of it goes to salaries, of course. I mean, we have to employ people in order to do this. We try our best to advocate for
you make $1 million a year, don't you? You make 1.2.
Well, that'd be great, but of course,
But Walter, I don't want you to be criticized. So when you say a lot of that goes to salaries, what the first thought in everybody's mind is that, hey, if it goes to salaries, then we need to cut back on what we're giving you. You know what I mean? So it has to go to more than just salaries, doesn't it?
Yes, and on our website, we break down really where all the funds go. I mean, we try to be as transparent as we possibly can.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Phone call coming in here. Good morning. You're on Connect with Me. Our two guests are here waiting to hear your question. Hey, caller, are you there?
Yes, I can barely hear you. Sorry.
Turn down your set. Turn down your set.
Oh, it's off. I have it muted. I turned off my air conditioner, though, so.
Okay. Go ahead. Go ahead. We're
Yeah,
ready.
the question I had was, a while back I went to the Humane Society to adopt a dog. And the cost of adopting a dog, I could have bought a dog with papers for that same price. I ended up getting one off the internet, and she has a lovely home. She's very happy. But I was wondering, is there anything... It's ridiculous what it costs to actually adopt a pet if you're like me on Social Security.
Yeah, what does it cost? Stay on the line there, caller. What does it cost?
Well, for a puppy, it's $180 to adopt a puppy.
Oh, $180 for a puppy. Okay, next?
And for a senior pet, it's $120.
Say a full-grown.
Yeah, it'll be 6 years and up. Yeah.
Say an adult, 120 for just a normal dog. Okay. What about a cat?
Until you have to.
Yeah, it's 70 for the kittens, and then it drops down. It goes to 40 for the senior cats.
Okay, so for a kitten, it's
and the
70?
reason for the adoption cost is because they are spay neutered, microchip licensed, vaccinated, pet insurance, and you get a free vet visit, and you get a dewormer and flea and tick preventative. It's a whole package when you adopt any of the animals. We don't just release them as is. You're really only paying for some of the services, and even the services are sold to you at the minimum possible. If you were to try to obtain some of these services on your own, everything that we include in the package, it would be more than that.
So all these dogs and cats are spay, neutered, and what else?
Microchipped, and the dogs are licensed.
Wow. And they're licensed?
Licensing, dewormed, first set of vaccines.
Okay, vaccines, worms. All right, roll another piece of videotape of some puppies. We have some puppies we want to show you. Very cute puppies. Caller, I appreciate it. Thank you for calling in. That's a great question because we want to know where all those adoption fees goes and why do you have to pay the adoption fee? So it's because of the spay, the neuter, the microchip in case you lose your dog, the licensing fee if they have worms. There's a set of puppies right there, guys. You're looking up on the monitor right there, and we have a puppy in our studio which we'll show you in just a moment. Very cute puppy. And so these puppies right here, they go for $180. You can come in and get one. Okay, there's one that's coming on our set, but I'm going to stay with this video here because they're so cute. There they are. How many are in the cage right now as you're looking at this video, Walter? How many in a cage?
There's most likely about 5 or 6 of them in the cage.
And so you don't have a problem with that?
When they're puppies, we try to tend to keep the litter together. We don't really want to separate them.
Yeah, that's because that's the litter, so they were kept together.
So you're not afraid that they're going to get into a big all-out fight, or
No.
Not our 2 to 4 months old.
All right. All right. Yeah. Caller, you're on the air. Go ahead. What's your question?
I was just wondering about like some people. What about the people that would like to have a dog, a puppy, but can't afford the $186? I mean.
Yeah.
What do you do about that?
Yeah, certainly. We do recommend that you only obtain an animal that you're willing or able to care for. It's always it's good to get to know the characteristics of the animal before you adopt, and that's with anything. Now with the turtle movie coming on, the Ninja Turtle movie, everybody wants to have turtles, but they're a big responsibility. They can live up to 30, 40, 50 years. So any animal
more than some people.
Exactly. So any animal that you obtain, it's important to be expecting any fees that may come. So the 180 is to pay for the initial services that your animal should have to begin with, and if you're unable to pay that, then maybe that's something that you need to rethink for the moment and until later
that's the main thing. We want to make sure that people know that it's a responsibility to adopt a pet, and the fees and any financial matter that may come up, like if it gets sick when it leaves our facility, we do warn the public in a contract that anything could happen within the first 14 days. It could have kennel cough, parvo, distemper, and we do offer that wellness visit for free. You can come on down to the shelter and just bring the adopted pet, so that way the vet can actually take a look.
You can't just go into the shelter, get a dog, adopt a dog, and not take care of it. It's a huge responsibility. You have to feed it, you have to take it for a walk, you got to clean up the poop, you got to have a sanitary place for the dog to sleep or whatever. Caller, you're on the air. Go ahead. Well, you were on the air. Okay, so put this little guy, he's shaking. Poor little guy is scared. What's his name?
So this is Peaches, and so she's the cutie.
She or he?
He.
It's a he. Put him right up there on the desk if you can, if he'll stay. He doesn't want to be separated. Peaches, don't be afraid. That's okay. No one's going to hurt you.
Yes, and this cute little terrier chihuahua mix, came as a stray, and these red bands that you see on their necks, that doesn't mean female. That means that they arrived at the shelter as a stray animal.
Here you go.
Yes. You also find blue bands over at the shelter, and that means that the owner surrendered that animal at the time of intake.
Oh, now has Peaches had his shots and his vaccines and all that?
Yes, the moment they enter the shelter, we give them their first set of shots and a dewormer.
Deworm, okay. All right, no fleas, right?
As far as I can tell right now, no.
No fleas.
And they are given a flea and tick preventative regardless before they leave the shelter, and the remaining vaccines. So,
all right.
So
Peaches,
this little guy. So with little Peaches here, he.
So cute.
His owner
My
didn't come
goodness.
back looking for him, so this is something that, of course, he was healthy, he was of good temperament, we put him up for adoption. And just like him, there's many more that come in that are not reclaimed. One thing that's very unfortunate, we don't do as many reclaims as we should. And reclaims have to do with people coming in looking for their lost pets and actually taking them out of impound. So that's one thing that's kind of
I
problematic.
want to hold Peaches up so they can see him on my shot. Here you go. See if he'll come and
Certainly.
let me hold him.
Yeah.
There he is right there. Oh yeah, take a look at that. Hey Peaches. Oh, he's so cute. Okay, got to be careful here. All right, take another call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead. Go ahead, caller.
Yes, hi. I was just wondering if Mrs. Winkles can...
Go ahead, caller.
Hi, I was just wondering, there's a Miss Winkles pet shop, adoption center, that only charges $25 per pet, and you get all the shots, the spay and neutering, you get the dog tags, you get a collar, everything. I've adopted 2 pets from there, and it's a no-kill shelter, and I'm just wondering, how many animals do you lose because your fees are so high?
That is a question as well that we are barely trying to answer after this Rachel Ray challenge that we just entered in this past summer.
Explain that.
We realized that, well, with the Rachel Ray challenge, it's $100K, $100,000 that if we win based on the amount of adoptions we did last year to this year, we'll get some money, some funds to throw right back to the animals. But we do understand that the fees may hinder some people from reclaiming or adopting a pet, and we're trying to see how we can attack that, how we can tackle those issues, and perhaps ask the city people for more funds in order for us to make the fees cheaper. We're not like Miss Winkles, of course. The size of the organization is larger, and they have different resources than we do, and it's no excuse, of course, for euthanasia, the amount of numbers, but if people can just spend a day at the shelter and see how many people walk through the doors, and it's draining on our end to sit there and watch how people just don't really care and they just drop them off like
But the fees are kind of a hindrance, though, a little bit, huh?
Yes, they are.
That kind of scares people sometimes if they can't really afford the adoption.
As a manager over there at the shelter, I do stand at the desk, and if people can't afford, for dropping off their pets, if they talk to me and say, "Hey, Walter," and just be honest, say, "I can't afford it."
Here's the thing: if you can't afford the adoption fee, then you probably can't afford to take care of the animal.
Yes,
because it's not cheap. You got to buy dog food, cat food. You have to buy food if you adopt a turtle.
Yes, and in those situations,
any animal
we
requires...
definitely do not want them to adopt. We try to coax them and say,
Right.
hey, you know what, this is probably not the best idea for you to do right now.
Right.
But then again, we do understand that they'll just go around and find a dog on the streets or look on Craigslist and just take something.
Yeah.
And that's not what we want. And, there's just several situations out there where if you just talk to a member of management and see what we can do for you, then we'll try our best. We'll make it happen. And this definitely for dropping off the animals. There is that fee, of course, for dropping off animals at the shelter.
Right.
And, just definitely talk to a member of management if you don't have the funds. And we do try to work with the public. We don't just shut our doors.
But
and
again,
say no.
if you can't afford the fee, how can you afford to take care of them?
And that's a big question.
I mean, is that a reasonable question to ask?
And
Dog
like,
food's not cheap.
Like the lady who said she was on Social Security, we do have a lot of older animals out there, and sometimes we do try to work with people on Social Security and say, hey, you know what, that's fine. Let us know how the animal's doing. We'll adopt out a pet at a cheaper price, an older senior pet. We try not to get the younger pets to somebody like that, of course.
Yeah, because they have too much energy.
Yes. We do
like
try.
Peaches here. Oh, look at him.
Our goal
Really
is to definitely get as many of them out of the shelter as possible, and
Are you
that's
feeling at
that's
home
the goal.
now? Are you feeling more relaxed now? He's not shaking like he was before, so he feels comfortable, I think, up here. All right, we're going to continue here on the program, Connect with Me, with Peaches and our other two guests right here, 436-MeTV, option 11. Now, quickly, before we go to break, is he up for adoption right here?
Yes, he is.
So if somebody wants to adopt him now, watching this program, they can call in, right?
Yes, and it's 50% off right now to adopt at the shelters, so $90 to take this little guy
Peaches.
home.
All right, all right. Got a phone call here before we go to break. Okay, caller, what's your question to our two guests?
Okay, I wanted to buy into the question about the fees, and I was just wondering whether they have some kind of layaway program for some people who may not have the money all at once, or whether they might have sponsors that are willing to help with the costs for those who would like. Because initially you may not normally pay that much money all at once for a pet. You may pay over time that amount of money. So I'm just wondering, do they have any of those things, those options available?
Well, one of the problems.
I'll mute mine so I can hear your answer.
One of the problems with having sponsors at the shelter currently is that we never can guarantee whether the animal's going to make it through its time at the shelter. We do let you guys know that before you put any money towards, like say if you found this pet, brought him to the shelter and say, I can't adopt him, but I do want to put $50 towards a spay neuter. We let you know that in advance, and it kind of turns people off. They're like, well, I don't want to pay something if it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But it still helps it find a home in the future, because if it does make it past all the assessments and is just there, then we'll put the money towards the animals. And it's just right now we're not really set up to take that kind of sponsorship for pets right now. But to donate to the shelter, that's a great thing to do.
You don't have the time or the money?
It's the setup in order to put all that resources towards the animals. Of course, if you say, hey, I want to put $50 towards this pet, we do recommend that you want to go ahead and do that. It's just if you do that, you have to understand that it may not make it out of the shelter, and your money is just going to go to a general fund for donations.
Okay. Hey, let me hold Walter up there just a little bit. We got to go to break. Hey, he's up for adoption. 436-MeTV, option 11. Look at that face. We're back in just a moment.
Considering solar? Whether you're ready to buy now or just exploring your options, the consultants at Solar Negotiators are here to help you. A call to Solar Negotiators is like calling 5 solar companies at once. You see, when local established solar contractors have gaps in their schedule, they call Solar Negotiators to fill them. Right now, get 5 years of panel cleaning and maintenance or $1,000 off your new solar panels. So stop wasting your time searching and call Solar Negotiators, because when contractors compete for your business, you win.
Okay, back here on the program. What kind of dog is Walter again? I forgot.
Peaches?
Yeah. Or Peaches, I'm sorry.
Little Peaches.
Wait a minute, let me get it straight here. This is Peaches, you're Walter, you're Thalia.
Yes.
Who am I? What kind of a dog is Peaches?
He's a Terrier Chihuahua blend. He's probably not going to get bigger than like 12 pounds. He's going to be a small breed dog.
He's a Chihuahua?
Yeah, he's a Chihuahua Terrier mix. He came to us as a stray, so again, we don't have much of his background. We just have to go of his major characteristics, and that's what he appears to be, so he won't be a very big dog. He's probably already about 2.5 months, 3 months.
Is that all?
Yeah, so
Wow.
he's young.
Wow, it's a good thing my daughter's not here. My goodness, she would not leave without him.
Yeah.
No question about it. Hey, we got some videotapes of some cats. I mean, they have cats over there. They have 700 or more combination of cats and dogs. So let me ask you, Walter, again, about comparing Fresno to other counties, because you mentioned that we have a bigger problem here than most. The question is, why do we have a stray cat problem, a stray dog problem? And I don't know if that can be answered.
I can answer that for you.
Okay, go ahead.
One great thing about us in Trevally is that we're a very diverse community. We have people from all over the world. Here's the thing: we have people that come from countries where animal welfare is not highly regarded, because they're dealing with poverty, child hunger, and things like that. So and then also the pounds in other shelters, for example, in Mexico, are not the same here. When they pick up a stray, they take it to a shelter and they don't give an opportunity. The animal's basically put down. So it's a different environment. When they come here, they don't realize that they can take their animal to a shelter to surrender it, or that they can even look for their lost animal at a shelter. So the dynamic of perspective regarding what is a shelter is different.
All right, let's take this
we'll
call
take the
right
caller.
here.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, hi. I'm sorry. I was listening to the program and it said they're having a special for $90 to adopt an animal.
Yes,
is that correct?
Yes.
50% off.
Okay. So you mean it costs $180 to adopt an animal?
Yeah.
or 118. I mean, what is the normal cost to adopt? If you wanted to go to the shelter and buy, get yourself
Well,
a puppy.
for a puppy, it costs $180. For an adult-sized dog, it's 120.
For a senior dog.
For a senior dog, yeah.
Okay, and you're talking that people are not going to the shelter. Well, don't you think that's a little steep? And I understand you said earlier that if you can't afford $120, you can't afford the dog food, but that's not necessarily true because.
Why is that not true? Why do you disagree with that?
Well, it doesn't necessarily. You don't spend $120 at one whack for dog food. You know what I mean? I think that's why more people don't adopt. I think the Fresno SPCA has a special. They were adopting out dogs and they got a grant because they adopted out so many dogs. I question. I mean, I even knew somebody who lost their dog at the 4th of July and had to pay a bundle to get it back, and they saved their dog. But it's just, I'm just wondering, isn't there somebody who could donate, vets that can donate their time, or veterinarian students that could donate their time to come in and make it a little more reasonable for people to save animals? That's what I guess I'm asking.
Certainly.
Because that's very steep. I mean, you can find there's a dog on every block.
But let me ask you something, caller. Let me ask you something. What's your first name?
My name is Denise.
Okay, Denise, if you adopt a dog and pay $180 and you say that you can't afford that, how can you afford to have the dog over the long haul? You're going to have this dog...
Well, because I take it to the low-cost SPCA and have it spayed. All my animals are spayed, have all their shots and licensed. But at one time, $180 is pretty steep.
Yeah, but how can you afford to feed the dog over the long haul, over the course of, say, 6 to 10 years? How can you afford to...
Because it doesn't cost me $180 a week to feed a dog.
Okay.
I mean, I go to Walmart and buy Purina.
It depends on what size dog you have, too.
Yeah, I have a Rottweiler.
Yeah, and part of the thing too is that we have it's a package deal. We don't just take the $180 and say, okay, take the dog off our hands. We alter the pet for you. You have the vaccinations, your license, which is required in Fresno, and your microchip in case it gets lost. And if we find it, and the free vet visit. And we also offer the the pet insurance, which is $75 as a copay for up to $750 worth of anything that happens.
I didn't hear that part of the program. That's a pretty good deal because I even checked into pet insurance.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's just a package deal that we offer, and unfortunately, a lot of people don't see that. That's what it is. It does cost money to do all those services, and it's a cost, really. It's not a retail fee that we're charging people for that. And, we do need to definitely get the word out of what they get when it comes to the adoption.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I understand. I didn't hear all of that. But
Great call.
It'd be nice. Pardon me?
I said this is a great call. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. But one more question. Have we ever reached out to veterinarians, local veterinarians, and asked if they would just donate some time and help, or do they already do that?
You know what? Actually, for the Rachel Ray Challenge, we reached out to the veterinary community out here.
What happened?
We are actually hiring for a vet right now, so if anybody knows anybody out there who is willing to work with the SPCA, send in an application and we'll review it. And
or, I mean, like the interns they have, you have to do so much time. I mean, you think they would give those to you guys and let you help you, because I love animals and I hate to see this. And that little guy on the show right now.
Yeah, do you see
adorable.
him? Look at that. Look at that face there. Don't you want
I
this
know.
to come on?
Well, I'm not in the house because I can't be right the television.
And actually, we do have intern opportunities. We have a volunteer program established. So we take students from SJVC's veterinary technician program. We take students from the Fresno State Animal Science program. So we certainly offer opportunities for them to come in and then help us. And then that's definitely going to promote more animal adoptions and be able to provide more services for the animals. So it's very much helpful. We employ about 80 staff member plus, but even then, there's always more work than there are bodies. So we definitely, if you're, So if you're interested in volunteering at the SPCA, we have a program, and you can certainly come on down. We even have a junior program for the little kids, for 8 to 13, and it's part of our junior animal education. So if they're interested in learning more about animals, gaining a humane perspective, they can be participants of that program.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay, well, thank you for your time.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate it. Peach is having a very good time here on the set. I didn't want him to get this pencil. I didn't know if he might get lead poisoning. Who knows? But he's chewing up the wire there. Peaches, you're a good dog. You're a great dog. We got to go to break. We're coming back here on Connect with Me in just a moment. 436 Me TV option 11. Oh, I'm so glad we did this show today on the SPCA. Caller, let's see. Oop, now you're on the air. Caller, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Maybe it doesn't pertain to, the shelter, but you know what? We noticed, neighbor and I noticed that there was a fox. There was a fox roaming around our neighborhood, and we go, we thought it came from the mountains or whatever because of the drought. Okay? Now, I know the shelters don't take in fox because they're exotics or considered exotic animals. But who can we call? And because we found out that neighbor had other exotic animals like snakes and whatnot, and we're trying to figure out which house it is because this fox is being let out at night, so it can roam around, I guess, to get food, whatever, So it's a question to you: who can we turn to? At the city because or SPCA so they can pick it up, or they're not supposed to have those kind of animals at home anyway. They got it caged in during the day, but at night they let it go out, and it goes out, and because my next door neighbor had it on top of the roof, and we thought it came from the mountains, but we noticed that this happens every night. And
if it's actually at somebody's house,
what house it was.
Yeah, if it's in somebody's house, one of your neighbor's
house. I just
house.
thought I'd let you know, who do we call?
Now, is this within Fresno City or is this the county side?
No, go ahead. He hung up already.
Okay. Well, if you live in Fresno City and one of your neighbors has wildlife or exotics, and you just have a question whether or not they're legal, you can go ahead and give us a call, and we'll investigate the household.
Like snakes that you're not supposed to, like a python or something? Will you come out and investigate that?
Yeah, if you notice
Really?
that they might be questionable, you definitely want to give us a call at 233 SPCA, and one of our officers will go out and knock on the door and say, hey, do you have a permitted animal or what's going on here?
All right. Go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
Hi. I have a question about recovering animals, especially on the 4th of July and New Year's Eve.
Oh, yeah.
Like last year, I found a dog, and it had a number, and I called the people and got them back. Because of all the fireworks that are going on, this dog actually ate a hole through the people's bathroom wall, and then tore through the fence and escaped. Now, clearly, this is not the owner's fault that the dog escaped. They tried to hide, keep it from being traumatized by all the illegal fireworks. When the real fault is the Fresno Police Department refusing to keep people from doing it, and then, like a neighbor of mine had to pay $160 to get his dog back because of this going on. So why can't you have a lower rate for people's dogs who escape when they're being, responsible owners?
Now, these fees that are in place for reclaiming your pet, they're set by the local and state laws that are out there. The only fees that are recovered to the SPCA are the boarding and the vaccinations, which that is $10 a day for boarding and $7 for the vaccinations. Everything else is required by law pretty much over there at the SPCA. You have to have your license, and if it's unaltered, you're going to pay a steeper fine than if it was altered.
So you guys don't set those rates?
No, we don't.
Yeah, just want to get that clear. So you said that you take in coyotes. I mean, really, do you take in coyotes, or are you just making a statement?
No, if they're trapped or confined somewhere, we will go out there and take them in.
Yeah, and what do you do with them? You can't have somebody adopt a coyote. I don't think that's legal, is it?
No.
It's not. So what do you do with them?
Sometimes if it's injured, the wildlife rehabilitation centers, they will come out and take them from us. The ultimate thing, of course, is euthanasia.
Okay. Is there a pit bull problem?
Yes.
In Fresno?
We have a overabundance of pit bulls and chihuahuas. They have been overbred in the valley, and so pretty much any shelter that you visit, you're going to see that those are the top 2 breeds that we see the most. Yeah, we work with about 40 plus organizations, and they come and then they take a lot of our animals and put them up for adoption. And that's just some of the different organizations that we work with. Locally in the Central Valley, there's probably 50 plus different animal organizations, and that includes the zoo, Valley Animal Center, the Fresno SPCA, and different animal organizations. So it's not just it's not just the SPCA that's working for this pet overpopulation animal welfare issue. There's many more organizations out there that are trying to help people. Like the caller had mentioned, the SNP team. We actually collaborate with them in order to provide the low-cost spay neuters. The HOT team, which is a homeless outreach team, and different organizations. So we're constantly collaborating with other organizations to help with this issue. But even then, we still have an overabundance of animals. So definitely, this is where we encourage people to spay neuter their animals, and then of course secure their fences. That's one of the things that we tend to see be problematic, because 99% of these animals that came in as strays don't necessarily are strays like we think of them, like no homes. They've escaped, exactly. Most of them do have a home. So we just encourage people to board up those fences, cover up the holes, and provide some dog training. We offer free dog training classes at the SPCA. That's part of our pet retention program in order to help people, work out any issues they may have with their dog, so they don't feel that they have to surrender, or hopefully then lessen the chance of them escaping or something like that.
Now, we're looking at some cats up here on the screen, and so what's the ratio between cats and dogs in terms of strays? Are there more stray cats or more stray dogs?
Really, there's probably like an equal amount that come in, and the only difference is that cats, we have a lot of small self-sustaining cats that come to the shelter, and those kitties, unfortunately, we're just not set up to save them. They're too small, too young, and most of the times they just pass on without their mother.
Yeah. Okay, how long do you keep them before you have to make that ultimate decision? Nobody's adopting them. We're going to have to put them down. What's the time limit?
There's no set time on any of the animals. They're all going to take a different toll. For example, if a dog came in as an owner surrender versus a stray, the strays do by law have a mandatory holding period, which is 3 days by law. Then we don't count the day they come in, and then we give them an extra day. So it's 5 days with no ID and 10 days without with ID.
And then you have to put them down after 5 days?
Not necessarily. So this is step 2 of the process. So after they're held for the stray hold time, then we evaluate them. As long as they're of good temperament and of good health, then they will be transferred over to the adoption center. So if you look at the adoption center, you're going to see that most of the animals that were transferred over are indeed strays, and not as many owner surrenders. So we do have more strays coming in, and they are being transferred over. It doesn't just stop at the stray department. They're not just euthanized after the stray hold time.
So little Peaches here, let's take a shot of him again here in the studio. How much time does this guy have?
Again, there's not necessarily a set time for him, because he's a highly adoptable animal. He's pretty much going to stay there until he gets adopted. As long as he remains of good health, then he will continue to be there. We do have an isolation room where we treat animals that do get unhealthy, or they are sick, or kennel cough or something like that. Minor things, for the most part, we can try to help and alleviate the animal of that illness. But again, our isolation room is only so big, so we can only treat so many animals that do get sick within the shelter.
And what's the most you can have in the cage at one time?
At our kennels, if it's large breeds, up to 2, and small little guys, you can have a litter which can consist of 4 to 8 animals.
What if somebody comes in and say, you know what, I want to adopt that killer-looking pit bull right there, and I also want to adopt Peaches? What would you tell them? And not a good idea.
Well, our adoption agents, they walk around the shelter. They have a conversation with them, figuring out why they want these animals. And we do have people that say, I want a guard dog. This is what I want. And
it's got to be common sense, right? Why would you want to adopt a pit bull plus a dog like Peaches? It makes no sense, right?
Yeah, and most of the time, it doesn't happen that way. We totally say, no, you just can't do this. And it's our discretion.
What's the biggest misconception about the SPCA?
That we kill every animal that comes into the shelter, and that's not necessarily the case, and that we don't work with anybody, and that's not necessarily the case again. We have educational programs for juniors to come in and learn more about animals. We have a youth work experience program. We have a volunteer program. We have spay-neuter programs, free dog training classes, low-cost vaccinations. We have many services at the SPCA to help either people with their pets, or just learn more about animals and develop that humane perspective. We also offer dog safety classes. We have a lot of dog bites that are reported every year, and it's usually children affected by this.
Yeah.
So we, as part of our dog bite prevention program, we teach them how to be safe around dogs. So we have many programs. The thing is that a lot of people just see us as a euthanasia kind of organization, and they haven't taken the time to learn more about the programs that we offer to help the community.
Quickly, almost out of time. What's your phone
Yes,
number
certainly.
out there?
Yes, certainly. You can call us at 559-233-0115.
Okay, Thalia, Walter, thank you very much. We got to go.
Thank you for
And
having
here's
us.
little Peaches right there. Let's take the shot of him. Okay, the number again to call if you want to get Peaches is?
Certainly, 233-0115.
233-0155.
Or 233-SPCA.
And that one's the easiest
Two
one
different
to
numbers.
Okay, 233
SPCA. That's the easiest to remember.
233 SPCA.
Yes.
Here's Peaches. He's up for adoption. Back with another program tomorrow. See you then. Have a great day.
Want more of me? Me? Go to MeTVFresno.com for schedules, information on your favorite show.